Hey yo, check this out. It's G with you, and I'm gonna show you a tutorial today on how to use Procreate, or how I use Procreate to design some artwork. All right, so today we're gonna start with this image here. This was out of a sketchbook that I did back in 2016. Okay, and I wanted to illustrate this in Procreate and show you how I use layers. Now I'll go ahead and add that image. So you go to add, insert photo, find the photo. Yep, there it is. And I'll resize it, make it fit as big as I can so that my lines are good, nice and big. All right, then I'll go ahead and hit the little N, right? Do it with my pencil so you can see. Hit the little N and turn the opacity down. Okay, just as long as you see it, it's nice and light, but it's dark enough to see. Then I will make another layer and draw on this layer, and that'll be my first layer. Okay, for some reason, I gotta use this thing now when I draw. I had an older iPad and I didn't need this. The Apple Pencil on the other one worked fine, but for some reason in this newer iPad, this is the 4th generation one, and now they have a new iPad. Wasn't ready to get that one, but when I bought this one, it's glitchy. Procreate is glitchy. Your hand touching the surface and drawing at the same time. It's very glitchy. I do not know why, and I wish it would stop doing that. But use the tools you got. So here goes. So here, I'm checking my line weight. It's too thin, way too thin. Okay, so make my brush size bigger. That's a little too thick, so, oh, and you double tap to go back. All right, so now just start tracing as many lines as I want. And I like this brush. See, glitchy. All right. Anyway, I like this brush because you can get thins and thicks. So, see, you can get thin lines, thick lines just by the pressure that you use. And I like that for my style of illustrating. So I'll do this as quickly as possible so that you see my process. And basically what I'm doing is making sure the shapes are closed. Okay, making sure they are closed, because if you do not, when you go to drop colors in, and I'll show you how to do that, once you go back to start dropping colors in, your colors will spill out of the area, and that makes for a messy drawing. And you got to keep going back and forth and erasing and erasing and erasing. So have my line drawing now. And it needs work. I'm gonna go ahead and adjust some things, make a few changes that I like. Like to have bolder outlines on the outside of everything. It just creates a visual interest, makes the image stand out, especially if it has a background. And it's just something that I've picked up from other artists that I like the way their art looks. And it's okay to imitate or copy somebody's style and integrate it into your own style, because that's what life is about. As you go through life, you learn how to do things, and then it becomes a part of you. And so it's something that you start to build into your style of everything that you do, and ain't nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If anybody ever tells you that there's something wrong with that, they got problems, because life is about interaction. It's about being with people or around people that influence you in a positive or negative way, hopefully positive. And if you like to grow as an artist, as an individual, as anything in this world, if you like to grow and not remain the same, some of us have a hard time with change. Some of us don't. I don't. There's certain things of my life that I don't want to change, that I'm satisfied with, but art is not one of those things. I continue to grow. I continue to change every day that I draw and paint and do whatever I do, because I'm a creator. You will see on my channel that I can create anything out of anything. And there are no limitations except for my own mind. Whatever I can think of doing and figure out how to do, I will do. And I will never stop being that way. All right, got that part. Now also what I do like to outline a little bit darker and thicker is these lines coming in from the darkness, creating a shape that the head is going to stand out because it's on top. So anytime you have something that's on top, if you just give it just a little bit of a thicker line, it will stand out better. And this is all I'm talking about. It doesn't have to even be the whole line. It's just where it separates from the outline. So the bigger line on the outside, and now see how I carry the thicker line in and kind of tapers off to a thinner line. And also, if need be, make that line around it on the outside even thicker, so that now it creates, see how this looks a little more separated from the body. And then so now this arm is in front of the body, so this arm will get a bit of a thicker line as well to give the mind the illusion that this arm is sticking out further. Again, making that line a little bit thicker just to kind of balance it out. So just go back and forth through and make the image how you see fit. You just keep zooming in and out. It's the best part about being digital. If you don't like something, you can change it easy. On paper, not so much, especially with ink. It's unforgiving. But smooth that out. Oop. Make this one a little bit bolder. Again. Always forget about the double tap. Yeah. All right. This horn is in the back, so head is in the front. I'll make this horn a little bit thicker in some areas just because it is sticking out in front of the face. So that should do it. Okay, now the belt. Also, closing up lines, of course, like I said before, because once we start dropping colors in, that's where those closed lines are going to come in handy. All right, I think I'm good with this. And what I also am going to do is shrink the canvas a little bit. Just so the leg is cut off, so I don't have to worry about that spilling out over. And I think that'll be good. All right. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. Now, what I do now, start coloring. Duplicate the layers. Make a couple of duplicates just to start off with. Here, I will pick a color and I will start to drop color in the sections that I want. So, elephants are usually gray, so I might as well go ahead and pick a gray. I want to start with a medium gray, so that way I can go darker and lighter. Start filling in his body. But here's the thing, where the body touches the head, I will not fill that area in. What I will do is fill in this area and this area so they can remain separated, okay? Matter of fact, this area here, because see, then these two will be separated. And you want to have space in between, and I'm going to show you why later. Okay, so we got these pieces. All right, his pants. That will remain that color. I will go to another layer, and his pants, I will make them brown. So, throwing some brown. Okay, now I'm not shading this back just yet, because I'm going to separate a layer, another layer. So, because I did this, right, and it's separated, I can go back and color this area gray. And I will show you why. And then I'll do his arm in the back. And since this is touching his leg, I won't. Okay? Third layer. And go ahead, I'm probably going to use another layer. So here, on that third layer, I will go ahead and fix that. See, and now his finger is not touching his layer with the pants, so I'll fill in that one gray. And it's not touching his arm either. So there is that spot there, which is not touching the finger or the arm, so I will fill that in with gray. So now I have 3 separate layers. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now this one just has the, which one is it? The one with the hands. So I will go ahead and fill that in with that brown right there. Okay. And let's see, it's not touching anywhere near the face, so I'm going to go ahead and fill these areas in, and his eye with a lighter gray for his tusks. Might change that color later, but that's okay. Now it's kind of separated, so it's fine. His eye, I will make that for now. I will make it blue. And then the little white part, since it's touching that, I will use this layer because it's not touching in the face at all. I would just use some white. Okay. Now, his belt. I cannot do it on this layer because his chest is here. I can, but I won't. Okay. And his hand and his, yeah, it's too close. So, can't use this one because that's his pants. I can use this one here because it's his hand, but I can't fill these areas in because they're too close to the hand. So I will fill in this ball, and that ball. And I will use, let's just use red. Okay. Last but not least, the rest of the belt. And I will use a whole nother layer to fill in the rest of the belt. I would just use a darker red. Again, I can't fill that ball in, so which one can I use? None. All right, so I will create another layer with the same image. See how fast you can get your solid colors in to your image how you want, and also if you need to, you can change the background color. So I will do that, and I don't want to put anything too harsh that contrasts any of these colors, so I'll just play around until I find something that's suitable, just for the meantime, because I will put something in the background eventually, but for now. All right, so now all these different layers, right? I want to go ahead and alpha lock all of them. So that way I can start making changes or painting in them so that they won't go outside of the area. Now check this out. What I'm talking about with alpha lock, if you don't know what it is. Alpha lock is basically a way, okay, so I'm gonna use, let's say, a grunge brush, okay? And I want to paint the pants, right? Let's layer them on, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some shadows. So as I'm going in, you know, kind of painting, but wait, going outside the area, see? So what alpha lock does is prevent you from painting outside that area. No matter what you do, you will not paint outside that area unless you turn the alpha lock off, or you don't turn it on in the first place. So here I'm going to start to create shadows in the image using alpha lock. Another way of doing this so that you do not mess up that layer is to create another layer and put a clipping mask. And now clipping mask does a similar thing. The only difference is it's not on the image. So that color underneath remains the same. But if you turn it off, you cannot see what's going on. So just keep that in mind. You can do it two ways. I like to use alpha lock because it just saves layers. But in some cases, when I want to kind of experiment with a shadow, and if I don't like it, I could just delete it. You know, if I want to try a little highlight or something to see how it looks, I'll do that on a clipping mask. And if I like it, then I'll like smash them together. And if I don't, then I will separate them. You know, I'll just delete it and do another one. Now I use like this brush here. I like to go bigger. And then it kind of just allows me to be quick about it and color in areas faster. And then I can go back and start using smaller brushes to go in there and clean them up, you know. This is my shadow layer. So, well, sorry, not shadow layer. What I'm doing here is creating a shadow under the belt as well. And like I said, this area is here is going to be the darker area. So I can even go darker and create some of the darkest areas for his pants. His pants look rugged. This is why I'm using the grunge brush. I might change the brush on the body, might not, don't know. It's always kind of me just winging it and seeing how it looks. And I like it that way because it lets my brain just be creative. I don't have to plan everything out. Some people do need to have planned out color schemes and all this other stuff. That's all up to you. If that's what you want to do. Me, I'd rather just kind of wing it. Oh, this always saves your colors that you pick. Not always. Sometimes it glitches. It doesn't. But for the most part, most of your colors are there. And if you ever can't find your color, all you have to do is just hold your finger on the spot that you need the color, and it will pick that color for you. So now it's back in your history. What's going on? Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Duh. Okay. So a little more darkness down here. Gonna go back to the red. Wait. Reddish brown. A couple of spots up here. It's gotta look grungy. You can always put some in the folds. With the folds, you're gonna go a little bit smaller with your brush. Yeah, that might help too. I turned the opacity down. I didn't even notice. All right, so now pick that color again, make even a smaller brush so I can have clean that up. It looks more like a shadow. Now, mind you, this app definitely reminds me of Photoshop. The best part about this, though, that I love so much, is that it's much more fluid. Photoshop is not as fluid. I've been using it for years, and I still have issues with it. Even using a tablet on my computer, I do not have anything fancy. At the time, spending $2,000 on a tablet that you could draw on, and it's glitchy because the computer is glitchy, because the processor was slow or anything like that. Like, to me, it wasn't worth the investment. So I just bought a little bamboo tablet from Wacom and used that, and it worked fine because I could see what I was doing on the screen, and I got used to it when I went to college. It wasn't a big deal. So I just continued to use it, and it created the images that I wanted. It would take me a little bit longer because I was going between that, the mouse, and everything else, and just going back and forth. With the iPad, much less time. I've been spending about 40 minutes on this right now, and look how far I got. 40 minutes, all right? So now I'm going to go to the gray and start to go off of that color and start doing, I'll change brushes. I will use, I have no idea how to say that, Hessian, yeah, whatever. And I'll start using that to do my shadows. So this is one whole solid piece here. And so I have to be careful. It's still on alpha lock, so it's not going to paint outside the boundaries. But what I do got to remember is that, you know, there's no stopping it from spreading onto this color. Fortunately, I'm just using this kind of colors right now. And I kind of like the scratchy look there, like that. So I'm going to leave those. I'm not even going to try to delete them. Just going to go back and implement them. Oh, by the way, here is the smudge tool, right? If you don't like something, or if it's too dark, you can smudge it and it'll get lighter as you go. And this is great for when you're using a airbrush effect, you know, or softening effect to whatever you're doing, blending it together. I use that quite a bit. And also just like to take the focus off of something. So like, let's say, you know, see how that's kind of rough, and I'll just blur it out. So now it's not as concentrated in that area. Now I'll just kind of smudge it. It's like using your finger on paper when you're drawing with a pencil, you know, just smudging it out. Ambient light, baby, ambient light. This part here is where I like to shine or make my characters shine, so to speak. So this one is going to be done here in a minute, but I got to put a couple little spots where I want to, you know, have a light. Actually, this also makes me want to change the color of the background to this, right? And yeah, background, sorry. I'm gonna mute it a little bit, so about there. That way that other part stands out a little more. Here's some ambient light. Keep it small, don't go crazy. Just some highlights. And this is reflected light from the background onto the character. It just gives it this little extra pop. Don't have to overdo it, which you really can. Just keep it subtle. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but it does give this nice little glow to your character. It makes him, I don't know, just jump off the page or screen or whatever. And there we go. Done. If you like it, tell me what you think. See all the details. If you like this tutorial on how to use Procreate, let me know. Put a thumbs up, put a comment. If you want to see more, absolutely put a comment so that I can continue to do stuff like this for you guys. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.